This is Justin Amazon. On Thursday, April 18th, 2019, this is the end of the week. The market is closed on Friday the 19th, and I thought we were going to have a lot more selling into this weekend, holiday weekend, and it just didn't happen. We were just totally sideways today. The line we've got in here at, trying to highlight it, the line we got here at 1863. 84. It's not giving me the price, but there we go. 1863.84. This was just a consolidation point. We bounced off it first thing out the gate with a really high wave candle that didn't go anywhere. Consolidated on it for 20 minutes right here, broke down with kind of a double bottom shape that just consolidated for another hour or so, got above it, and then came right back in for half an hour. This was a bit of a triangle here. So just like I was drawing a triangle yesterday, there was higher lows, lower highs, consolidating right here on the line. That broke down, moved down pretty quickly, taking out this low. And then instead of retesting and rolling it back down like this one at least did, it just continued to rally. And so this line really didn't act as a resistance or support. It just acted as a consolidation price. And then got way up here above, looked like we were going to break out, like a false breakdown, false break up. And again, we just rolled back down to the same price and then rolled over again to end the day. So I had a hard time seeing any real place to, I was interacting with the line here. Really this move was one that you could have been going bearish with that triangle. And then as we were rolling over here, looked like we could pull back to this level and then bounce, didn't bounce, it got below it and then retested. And so this price right here, retest, rolling back down, looked like a good place to get in bearish. This was a good place to get in bearish. This was a good place to get in bearish here. And then, or at least looked that way after a retest in this case. But we can look at the calls and puts to see kind of how things are moving. But I just had a hard time seeing what was going on with triangles, with lines. It was just a good sideways day. One thing I did notice, if I can add the study here, I don't remember where it is in the menu, so I have to go to source and then up here. I'm going to throw the Bollinger Bands on, and just something I noticed for today, didn't really play out yesterday. I mean, a little bit. We came into this low here, bounced off the lower Bollinger Band, ran up to the higher one, and we did that all day today. We were into the higher band, ran down to the lower band. We were in the lower band, ultimately did run up to the upper band. We were in the upper band here and here, rolled back down to the lower band, and again, bounced off of the lower band, ran up into the upper band, and then came back down again. So those are, I mean, I just happened to be clicking things around on the chart and saw, oh, look how well we're range bound by the Bollinger Bands. Just noticing that. So don't normally have them on. It's just something that caught my eye. It's like, oh, that's really what was guiding the movement today. Just ping-ponging between the bands there. So let me go back for studies, edit, turn that back off. There we go. All right. So for just the day today, really high wave opening candle. Just at the start today saying, not really picking a direction. And it really didn't all day long. Once it broke down below this line, below this point, this low, then it moved back up again. We didn't get up past this high. This was a nice place to go bearish. Way up here at 18.7, I didn't expect to even see that price today. I thought it was going to roll over and continue doing what this did to start us out. But I think we talked about a week ago or two. This is 30 minutes of bearish candles. It makes sense to have a little bit of a bounce. And in this case, it bounced up to the 21, looked like it was going to roll over, and then continue to be bought up here. So if we look at some of the calls, they've moved very similar, a little flatter on the bottom here rather than higher lows, making a triangle. But then when we move down to that level looking for some retracement, I mean, somebody could have been buying 3x2 for your $100 risk and held that up to 5. And that was a pretty quick move. And that $5 price was right in line with the consolidation, that apex of that triangle I was talking about here, right around this price, right on the line. So you could have made 2R just buying down here and looking for a move back up as like a retest. And then had you held, because it didn't really roll over or show a close below the line, so you could have held, could have been getting out at some resistance here, or gotten out a little bit higher if you had held and just waited. And it's harder for the chart to say to do that, but that's what I'm saying. More likely, maybe 3x2 and get out around 6 for a really nice 3R gain. But I don't know if anyone grabbed that. I didn't grab that. And then the puts, let's see. Once we were way up here, we had this candle moving down, a break of the 5 sideways, and then indecision as this is breaking down. And it's just some 20 minutes to say, hey, this thing kind of looks like it's rolling over. And then from this point, you could do a bracket trade, getting in bearish. That would have been, maybe a half an hour gain to this price with a 1 hour risk. So that would have been a hard trade to take back to this price. And so after all this selling, looking for this to S-curve here, once it gets back into this line, maybe for it to roll over. But again, this is just a single candle, a single bullish candle retracing after so many bearish candles. We had something similar here, and it worked to go bullish. Now this one here worked to wait and go bearish at this price here. Maybe not wait so much, but just wait for a retracement. So things were just kind of chopping around throughout the day, and I think we'll have to wait till Monday to see kind of how things are really going to move from here. Looking at the daily, there's potential that we could gap up after a weekend like this, holiday weekend, an extra day off, and other markets around the world are still doing things. I believe I haven't actually checked schedules and things, but if we gap up, we could really just continue to run up. If we open sideways, look for something like this stepping in, where we've got a moving average coming up into it. We're holding some prices. Relatively speaking, we're in the range of this line. Right now, maybe we're staying in the range of this line. Maybe we could push up to 1880.05 and then come back down and just kind of chop around to this range. It's seems like such a small range, but again, we'll just have to wait to see how things play out. So hope you enjoyed this video. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.